saying that no matter how much herbs you take, right? If the location that you're in is not coinciding with that herb or the vibration of that herb that you're taking, then it's not going to work. It's going to be inactive to your system. For an example, when Mars is on retrograde, right, or retrograde spectrum, what happens is those herbs that has roots, I'm talking about the root part of the herbs, are more valuable for the systems of the body. I'm not talking about the flower parts of the herb. I'm talking about the roots. Because then you have Mars and the roots. Mars is the planet of what? War. Underworld. Darkness. So if you need something in your body to be attacked, right, you need to take the herbs that's closer to the underworld or the darkness, which is in tune with Mars, which would be something like burdock root, dandelion root, and things of that nature. Sarsaparilla root. So, but what happens when you take these things in a location that is not vibrating with these entities, which we call herbs? Because all herbs are living things. They are electric. And once you plug them up to your body, what happens is it doesn't sit in your body and just communicate to those systems that it's trying to heal. It starts to communicate to the environment and those stars and systems in the environment that you are in as well. And if those stars and systems in your environment is not sparked, then it will be inactive. You will not be able to heal yourself just using those things or those entities that we call herbs. So you will have to move to a location, right, that is conducive to the anatomy in which you are trying to heal. Now, for those who have mental issues, it'll be best that you take sarsaparilla, right, colloidal silver, and go to an area closer to the equator. Why? Because the equator is more of a mental energy, right? And once you go into the environment, which is closer to the equator, those neurons in your brain start to pull out. They pull closer to the surface of your brain. They don't stay in the middle, they pull to the surface. And what they do is they collect intellect and pull it back to the middle of your brain. And it does it over and over consistently. So it's like a string or a rubber band. It does this. It goes to the surface of the brain and goes back into the middle of the brain, to the pineal gland. And it distributes to the pineal gland intelligence, which sends the messages into the cells or the nucleus of the body, and it starts to distribute it and starts finding those things that is keeping you suppressed, those illnesses and diseases that's keeping you suppressed. So for anybody who have a mental illness, it'd be best that you go closer to equator, especially if you have a deep potency of melanin. Because if you have melanin, you have keratinocytes, which are cells that creates carbon, and by way of photosynthesis, right, it changes those cells into melanin, which makes you darker. This is why when we are in the sun, or if you go closer to Africa, we are more darker. Because the forces closer to the equator, right, is conducive to your anatomy or your physiological structure. Not only that, but we have a different carbon around our brain. And so when cancer is in our body, which is only acid, see, when your body is in an acidic state, that's cancer. They just label them different diseases because of the locations of the body. So if your disease is here, or if your disease is here, if you have mucus or parasites in the lungs, they call it pneumonia. If it's in the bronchial tubes, they call it bronchitis. If it's in the brain, they call it Alzheimer's. But there's only one illness that exists. That's mucus. Acid, alkaline. If your body is in an alkaline state, cancer cannot be present anywhere where alkalinity is in a high state of function. I've always said that eating is spiritual, because anytime a government creates your diet and control you with that diet, they're trying to control something else more deeper inside of you. Because every food that you eat is a message to something in your body. Your food don't just digest in your body. The foods that you eat, if it is suppressing the organs, which is living things in your body, these organs let out a certain frequency into the universe. And these things in the universe that are receptors to this energy that you're letting off by way of the foods that you're eating and digesting, if it is negative and the food is not good for you, then it's not going to send you back good energy into the atmosphere. You will forever be indebted to repelling things that is trying to get to your anatomy. Yeah, I say the soul is the greatest body. But the physical body, oh man. If we were to take time out to study our anatomy, we'll see that everything in it coincides with everything outside of it. So what we do to it here affects something else somewhere else. If your thyroid is attacked, then you will not be able to lose weight properly, because that has a lot to do with the regulation of your weight. So you will have to go into the Midwest, because the Midwest has a lot to do with the midsection. There's a middle line energy of frequency in the Midwest that moves in spirals. And this is how your weight fluctuates in spirals in your stomach. It's like the circulatory system. And so you will have to move to a region that is conducive to the energy of an herb called chickweed. The vibration of chickweed moves in a spiral. So when you're intaking this herb, it goes down in a spiral into your midsection. And it fights in a spiral rotation.